emotions, yeah. My bills are paid and my debts are paid in full. Okay, One Love and Wellness, I'm back. This is the second time for today. And I'm right on time, apparently. I got bells ringing. Bells will be ringing. So, a dog in the fight is one of the topics that I wanted to talk about today. I also wanted to talk about something additional about the season because right now, as we're moving into fall or autumn, at the end of October is the end of the Druids the end of the year for the Druids and the New Year's for the Druids. So the Druid calendar would be on the 31st of October is the end of the year, or All Hallows Eve. And then the following day, November the 1st, is All Souls Day. So we have this season of the leaves falling, the season of the old season ending and dying out, and the beginning of a new season. The equinox leads to the winter solstice. The summer equinox leads to the winter solstice, which is also when, the sun stops for 3 days. It said it died for 3 days and then rose again. So it stays at the same, what is that? How do you write the degrees and longitude and latitude and all that good stuff? But that, whatever its coordinates are, it will stay for 3 days. So we are moving into the season of that shift, and there are other shifts. Polychronic application of timelines is currently happening. A lot of overlapping shifts are occurring, and we are simultaneously synchronizing with each of them in our own ways for whatever reasons that we need to be in touch with those things. But we just left the dog days of summer, and I said a couple of things about the Dogons and about relation to the Sirius constellation, and in relation to some of the rituals that the Dogons do. So this was one of the years. This is the year that the solar return of Sirius, the synchronicity, the synchronizing of it lining up with its solar return, So around the same time of my solar return this year, this season, the Dogon's season was occurring for their Sirius constellations lining up. What do you call that? The solar return. Oh gosh, don't get on. I got dumb blonde moments every once in a while that I get. I got a little bit of blonde up there. But anyway, so, I made mention before, I just kind of, resurfacing the information to put it all together in a capsule, in a nugget, that we are synchronizing with data that's being broadcast to us, communicated to us, downloaded to us, streamed to us from communicators, devices. Planets. Apparently the constellation Sirius is pumping out information. This is stuff that's on Google. This is stuff you don't have to go far to dig up, that there is some corroboration of that information. But some Dogons have confirmed that they were a part of, bringing marijuana to this planet in to align the energies the person's receiving, the person's consuming, the person's participating in, the THC. We have cannabinoid receptors in us, but we also have tobacco receptors. We also have various other receptors that help us to line up with, it's like a part of our weather gauge. It's a part of our climate assessment. Like there's certain things, like for instance, your wisdom teeth are If you didn't have them removed, the purpose of them, regardless of whether you removed them or not, but the purpose of them is to give you an indication of the energy that you're consuming. Is it the energy that you should continue to actually swallow, right? So that was that's one of our receptors, but there's many, many, many receptors that we have, that not just the seeing, but reading between the lines, not just the hearing, but hearing the undertones, hearing the motivation, hearing past the obvious, sensing and tuning into. And again, the 5 words for supernatural wellness is detox. I'm sorry, starting with hydrate, which also is watering things down, which also is diluting it some, which is also, balancing things out. So it's balancing the energies. And then once you've hydrated, you can actually cleanse or detox or, not fast, but various forms of what you could say is systematically cleaning house. So hydrate, detox. The 3rd word is tune in. And what's up? Word up. 2 words for tune in. So tune in is, now that you've cleared your clutter, your highways and your byways, now you can get inside of, you're going to have clearer byways and highways for you to receive signals, for you to receive signs, symptoms, and symbols. Okay, so that you tune in to these things, but you're also tuning out some things simultaneously happening, that you're selecting what you're tuning in. So you focus, you have a general direction, what you want to tune into, and you also have a general directive, the things that will be tuned out or you will be tuning out. So moving to the next, which is the 4th word of supernatural wellness, which is tuning out, which again, that it has an application of an in and out. So when you're tuning out, you're actually going outside of yourself. It could be universal, it could be the GPS, but you're tuning out. You're meaning you're sending a signal. This is where Eve is. I believe my phone might be getting hot, so I may have to redo this. But so you're tuning out. You're sending out a signal, as well as you're casting your rod out. You are, so at that point you have, so the female is tuning in. So hydrate, detox, tune in, that's becoming feminine, and then tune out, that's getting in touch with your masculinity, and then flow. And so flow at that point is as though you are in the flow. You're letting it flow. You're going with the flow. You are, you're floating through. You're watching the banks of the the flow. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And so I am getting closer and closer. I've been staying close to water today like crazy. I am very, if they keep sending me over to this area, look, I'm doing some things that's got me moving around. But at the same time, if I stay over this area, if one more thing puts me in a good mood, and this while I'm in this area, I'm gonna take it to the water and drop it off. And but anyway, so supernatural, the 5 words for supernatural wellness is a lifestyle. So but in any case, where I was the dog days of summer have been, the more I think about it, the more I say that the high activity timeline, or the high activity time of the summer, the high energy, the elevated temperatures, the elevated energy, it's a hot time in summer, when you are all in a very high, I don't want to say Fahrenheit, but yeah, the when the temperatures are up, we are all moving about in high energy ways. We're going swimming, we're going boating, we're going hiking, we're going to outdoor activities, plays and games, parties and picnics, cookouts, and whatever else that brings us out of the house to congregate and gather with others. So, but in the meantime, one of the things that I said about the dog days of summer is that there are a lot of, I don't want to say downloads that have happened during that time, but for me, it was coming up on my solar return. So yeah, I was being down, not overloaded, but being downloaded. I was downloading a lot of stuff. Oh man, I was supposed to turn that one, and I wonder if I go was behind me, and so I don't know if you am. And I got right on out of that flow of things so I could keep moving in the right direction, and it all worked out wonderfully well. And let's see if I can scoop my way through at all. If any of these people will decide to allow me through. Anyway, getting back to the dog days of summer, the Dogons, serious. Um, it seems like there's a lot more things that I had wanted to talk about, and for some reason they're not on the tip of my tongue in reference to the dog days of how we are now moving into fall. I know that fall is the time of foliage and the colors and our root chakra colors. The red, yellow, and oranges become very prevalent. Earthy tones, earthy energy. I'm checking for the traffic, and they see my blinker, but nobody is allowing me to come through. And so, in the meantime, if one person, two people had moved up, there would have been plenty, plenty, plenty of room. But I'm gonna let these folks go, and I will be patient because it does not matter to me. I am not in a humongous rush, but it's just lovely when people are nice. It all flows the way that it can go, which is good for all. Like win, 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 win. Okay, so in me, looks like I can cross here. Looks like I can cross here. Thank you, Mr. Mercedes and Mr. Toyota, Nissan and Toyota. All right, so in the meantime, seems like I lost my train of thought a little bit when I turned, and I also noticed that there was an older Ray behind, or Eba. How do you say it? Okay, so pick that. Wait, okay, they forced a email. But let's just say, I'm trying to figure out what else I wanted to tell you guys about the dog days of summer. Oh man. Well, anyway, so in the first place, I've been getting lots of downloads. I know that's where I was when I last spoke. But I was talking about getting all these downloads this past summer, and I think it was in preparation for the solar return. And I also think it was in preparation for what my mission is. And I spoke about something, and I was going to share it yesterday on. And I was happy to see. It's interesting that I was looking for something recent from Rod Hayes, and it just so happens that Magic 363, Black Magic 363, was due to have one guest, and that guest was not able to make it. And so the other guest was the person that I was looking for, which I was like, I wanted something recent from, because I actually caught up on most everything. I listen to a lot of stuff that Rod Hayes does, and I, watch most of the guests that Black Magic 363 have, and there are a lot of variety of other channels that I watch that like Young Elder TV, and his plethora of folks that come across his platform, and higher, is it high frequency conversations, the first one. But then there's also Ralph Smart. I also attended the Silver Institute years ago. So Vishnu, his Mind Valley circuit, I've been through all of that, or a lot of that, or most of that. Of course, Gaia TV, and numerous other Who else? Red and Blue. I look at well, that's on the Black Magic platform that I was introduced to that. So, and Vicky Dillard. Oh my goodness! And I saw her uh, before she came to, or I didn't see her on Black Magic 363, but again, I was familiar with her by the time she did come, or by the time I did see her there. And very interesting how, we all play our parts and our roles in delivering this information and sharing information with each other. I consider all these people contributors, potentially, depending on how deeply I go into their rabbit hole, potentially mentors. I know I felt like Billy was one of my mentors at some point. There's a plethora of folks that I've gone through seasons of. I had, what's his name, Young. There's a lot of folks that I used to like, Polite. There's a lot of folks I used to, pay a lot of attention to, and then, I got what I needed from them and I moved on. I don't know what every one of them are doing. I don't know the facts of what happened with Polite, and I know, money can put you in a different mindset, but I also know that we have the tendency of, when we get to a certain place, I don't want that to happen to me. When folks get to a certain place, they are sought after for determined. They want, there are those who do not want, that the information that they have to be circulated on a high level, or a high volume, to spread it. They don't want. There's a lot of folks that have information, and then there are a lot of folks that, the information that they have, they don't. There is a campaign to deter that information from being released and I said that in a few different ways, but let's just say this. Over the years, I have had some great information come across to me that has prompted me to do some further research. But, in particular, like this morning, there's a lot of times I have downloads. And this morning, my download was to look into, and I don't know if I should say it out loud before I finish. Ooh, that was some pawpaw trees. OMG. Oh, I'm going back to that. You guys, I don't know if you know what a pawpaw tree is, but pawpaws are supposedly, it's not a version of papaya, but sometimes they try to confuse you and make you think that it is a papaya, but it is not just the papaya. It is one of the highest concentrations of nutrition and one of the highest cure potentials to cure. It has the capabilities of. So I'm getting out. I'm walking over there, and yes, I'm parked in somebody's driveway, and I'm gonna take you with me. Love and wellness. Let's hope for the blessed. Let me see. Is it? Yes, it is. Pause. I know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna turn this around, and I gotta watch out for traffic. All right, traffic. Oh, he smashed one of them. So let me get this one before he smashes it. This smells so good. So where is this pawpaw tree at? I believe it's this big one right here. Let me get across the street so I can get away from whatever's going on. OMG. Look at that. Where did I get all these pawpaws from? Where is this pawpaw from? That was an Indian guy. I don't know if he knows about these pawpaws, but this is what this is. This is a pawpaw. So one of them got smashed. Let me see where the tree is. And then, because I know this whole section is nothing but pawpaw, because I know what that leaf is. The guy across the street from me has one of those. And I want to see if I see any more. A pawpaw? Yes, I did. I found a whole grove of pawpaw trees. I hope this person isn't upset with me for turning around on their property. It is a private driveway. I do a lot of private, not trespassing, but traveling on private lands pretty doggone often. And it is crazy how just riding down the street, I was able to see a pawpaw in the, not in the middle, but on the side of the road. That means that there are many other pawpaw trees around here. But anyway, so let's turn it around so you can see. That's where I got it from. These are pawpaw trees. This is where, like, there's one that was in the road that was smashed. You really can't see it from here. Okay, yeah, a little bit right there, right there, right there. So anyway, all right, family, let me continue on my commute and on my way. And let me put the AC on for a hot second while I turn in this direction. It's going to make a loud noise, and I apologize. But I got to cool this camera off because it just cut off on me so that I could, while I was outside, while I was holding it in my hand, it overheated while it was in my hand. I was that hot. I was so excited. And so there's a lot of other pawpaw trees around here. And anyway, so yes, man, we are in this season of fall. I was talking about how let me see, what was I talking about? The Dogons, the Sirius constellation, the ritual that they do on their solar return. That was on my last discussion. But these pawpaws, when they are produced, there's a whole season of them. I don't know if I should try to go back and recap what I was saying. I guess I said what I said, and from here out, I'll say what else I say. And I'm not going to even think about what I said before, because if I can get back to that, that's great. But I have downloads and things that have been coming to me. Like I said this morning, I'm still doing some research on that one. I will give you more on that later. But I had a whole summer of dog day downloads. Things on, like I said, the rituals that they're connecting, reconnecting. Here we go. Miles. Okay, I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to continue this conversation. But I thought, since I had such a wonderful window, I'm driving down these country roads, I thought that I would have a few extra moments to converse with you and share some of the downloads. But it looks like, I may have to start doing it when I stop and when I have access to somewhere to sit for a minute versus being in my commute, in my drive time. So I'm going to start applying things differently as need be for each scenario. I'm not going to be blocking myself or locking myself into a particular mode or whatever, because I go to so many events, I go to so many high energy places, so many places where the community of high frequency is in attendance. So I'm just going to put myself in a position of saying, Heart Happy Hour Season 5, Precious Mother Love. I'm going to be a roving reporter for all the good things that are happening in my life, and adding to it whatever value that I can to give you, to glean something out of what I say and what I have said and what I've done. You can take it to the next level. That offspring, with my friends, with my colleagues. I try to listen to what they're learning, share what I'm learning, so that we can elevate to the next levels together. I'm collaborating with a number of people who are, when I just looked at this screen, I did not look like me. I'm collaborating with a number of people, and these people are definitely, top notch, high level, high energy, eating right, vibing right, expanding their intellect, expanding their knowledge, applying their wisdom, living, their mission and on purpose. So surrounding myself with that kind of those kind of people. And oh yeah, there was one that spoke to me, and be honest, when we have conversations, if you're a comrade of mine, when we have conversations, I don't mind that if you say you didn't care for something that I did, I said, or whatever, and you can share it with me, that, and I won't get upset or mad if you want to have a discussion with me. But I had two discussions yesterday with two people that said they were upset with me, and one said she was upset because she had we were supposed to have a meeting together. And that first day, the first day that we were supposed to meet together, someone else found out that we were meeting, and they usurped the meeting. They commandeered the meeting. They decided on where it was going to be, what time it was, and gave a whole bunch of instructions. Like they were the ones that set up the meeting and never got in touch with me, but commandeered the person that I was due to be meeting with. So then the person I was due to be meeting with was upset with me because at that point, they expected me at that meeting, but they were the ones that told me about the meeting, not the person had commandeered the meeting. And she was like, "Well, I thought that you guys were this, that, and the other, shakers, bakers, movers, and groovers." And I'm like, yes, I am, but the way that all happened, without the other person having a conversation with me, I didn't know what the agenda was. And apparently they had a different agenda from what I had. This person was going to be one of my first guests of my new season, of season 6, right? I was going to start something new on this season, and I've postponed it or pushed it back a little bit, but I still have the same agenda, the same idea. It's just that I'm gonna mix it up a little more than. So that person didn't end up being the kickoff for my season like I had thought, because of the confusion. I did not include myself in the energy of that day. She got mad. She's like, "Well, I thought you were this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah." Okay, yes, there was a mix up and there was some confusion, and I just shared my side of it, which was that I didn't know what was going on, but I did not care for someone commandeering my meeting, the meeting that I had specific. Maybe I don't know. Am I good at the impromptu changing of plans and making? I think this is the street that I'm to turn on. Yeah, it just, it gave me a bad taste in my mouth. And that energy is the same energy that I got about that same person who commandeered that meeting when I first met them. And so she got a taste of that energy. And since then, I've kind of gotten used to that. That's the energy that I get from that person. But I'm also one that straightens them out. Like, hey, you don't do things like that. And I don't do things like that. So stop doing things like that. Don't do things like that. Let's not do things like that. This is how that looks, and this is not how I want to look. And don't do that with it when it involves me. I've had to do that with this person because they have a certain set of morals, scruples, and principles that aren't my morals, principles, and scruples. And I got some, old school ways about me. And so, and here we go, here we go. Yes, yes, yes. So, the main thing that I would like to conclude before I allow this to be concluded, the main thing I would like to say is that, this season, this cycle, we're in a serious place, space, time right now. I don't know if you have a dog in the fight or not, if you're on the Democratic or the Republican, or a bipartisan or nonpartisan. I don't know what other options that you might consider, but you can be any of these things right now and still impact and affect the conclusion energetically. If they tap into these holidays, the energy that we are all excited about, or all generating, or all exhibiting, or all letting, loose during these holiday times. We just finished Labor Day. November 2nd is usually, I don't know if it's the 2nd this year, but how I said the end of the Druids year is the 31st of October. The Druids New Year is November the 1st. And usually right after that, very, very close, is the day that we vote. So that energy that we're releasing, that we're whether we have a dog in the fight or not, or even if the dog has any more fight left, the the campaigns are the two words I was going to put together, like, let's just say fictitious feeling. It feels fictitious, like all of a sudden this we have a dog in the fight, and then we're trying to see, does the dog have any more fight left? That's kind of where Biden was. Did he have any fight left in him? Was he ready, or was he gearing up? Was he even prepared to continue to be at a presidential level in the fight? So he allowed the tables to turn. Speaking of tables turning, we've got the what do you call that? So now we've got P Diddy got arrested, with no bail and all that good stuff. I never did care for him. He did go to the HBCU. He did go to Howard. I never did get a good energy, a feel of good energy from him. Not the way he danced, his way of, something about him just always seemed a bit, I want to say fictitious, but I also want to say, like he was hiding a lot of things. Like there was a lot of, like someone who is at a level in one of those secret societies. He, over the years, his secret, the secret of the society that he had hanging out with him had many hidden agendas, many hidden ways tucked away, things. There were some things in the open and out, like a Suge Knight thing. There's a lot of things done out in the open. There was a lot of things that were suspected in the background, just like with many of our politicians, like in particular Mr. Trump. There is that front line. You can see things a certain way, but then as soon as their narrative kicks in, because this attempted it wasn't, how can you say someone attempted something? Yeah, there was a weapon in position, or or visibly noted as a sign for I guess at that point pursuit, like, hey, this is suspicious, let's check this out. But again, things are so fictitious in this time. The more we find out the reality of how much has been spun on us, the more we realize that there's a lot of room to spend stuff. And are we, what's our perspective or paradigm over it when we are actually trying to investigate it for ourselves, to get a good feel for, what's the deal? What's the dealio? Is it something of a actual materialization, or is there a, what are the key factors to utilize? What yardstick, what wall are we leaning our ladder on? There's a lot of something my tongue. So let me move from that, whatever that topic I was about to get into. So again, we're just going to wrap it up, and we're going to say love plus art equals wellness. I hope that I've said some things that have, tied some things together for you, that give you a bigger picture, because, the micro and the macro, man, it is just so similar, so much alike. Which way am I going? Okay, keep straight. All right. So love plus art equals wellness. Ashe. Peace and love and soul and wellness and wisdom and wealth. Wealth, wellness and wisdom. Wealth, wellness and wisdom. One love.